new day and the sun is shining, and classic khaki, as aforementioned, had to post out the new pipes, and I've made them up. This is the one that was a bit longer than I'd specified. It's maybe just a fraction, maybe a couple of centimetres too long, but certainly easily workable into the space we need. So that's great news. I'm just going to get it installed now. Brake pipes are now in place under the car. A little bit of wiggling those about to get them in the position they really want to coming up. But I'm going to wait till I've put the fuel lines in and clamped everything up. Just got to get the tank in, and of course all the hoses are being a bit of a pain in the arse to get on. So I'm going to heat them up and see if that helps. With some help from Dad, who's here working, the fuel tank is in. Look at this. There we go. And yes, like everything else, it was a right pain in the arse to get on because everything was really tight. And like everything in it never quite fits the way that you want it to. But there we are. It is now in. What we have here is a gallon of delicious super unleaded. Okay, now I've popped some fuel in. I've refitted the exhaust with the old gasket for the moment until we get a chance to make up a new one. Everything seems to be on there. The fuel lines are tight and secure, and the garage door's open. So, well, the back door anyway. Let's have a look and see what's going on in here. Are we going to be able to start this thing up? Okay, so the immobiliser is off. Sounds positive. There's the buzz. Make sure we're out of gear. Well, that's something. It runs. And the revs are hanging, but it runs. Okay, that's something we can work with. Well, that's a lot of something. All vapour, I reckon. Maybe not too much of a surprise. I've just temporarily fitted this on here as well, so I could hear that squeaking. It's probably the reason why the revs are hanging, actually. Bit of an air leak. Okay, well, it still starts and runs, so at least we know the fuel pump works. Well, I'm more interested in getting the thing up and together for the moment than I am sorting out the other bits for the engine, and I'll explain more about that later. The top mount bearings came with new top mount rubber bushes, so might as well pop those in whilst I'm here. So just putting the strut assemblies back together, got the other bearing in, and yeah, should be back together new bolts and things shortly. If you remember, there was some light surface corrosion down here. I've just cleaned that all back and just touched it in for the time being. I think it looks okay, certainly, and good enough for being inside the wheel arch of the car. I have refitted the front hub and the drive shaft. I haven't attached these yet, I've just popped them into place, the steering that is, just because I still haven't quite decided whether I'm going to quickly whip the rack out and swap the ends over, or whether I'm going to wait till I take the rack out anyway, when I do the engine bay and engine swap. So I figured I might as well wait for that probably. And the drive shafts I'll probably give just a quick rub down and a quick brush paint. I'm going to do that in situ for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because it stops it from bashing into things and getting damaged anyway, and secondly, because I'm likely to damage it putting it all back together, and just painting in situ is just fine. It's not going to be particularly difficult. I've also fitted the mount at the front. You may or may not be able to see, probably not there, but for the front roll bar, I'd intended to fit the roll bar this evening. I'm not entirely sure I've got the energy to do that, just because it's absolutely blowing a gale outside, which you may be able to hear. And I'm going to have to pop the garage door open to be able to put the roll bar in. I need to change one of the boots for the lower arms. So I'm not sure I've quite got the energy to bolt everything together. But for now, it is some progress. You may wonder why I had the jack down there. And that's because I was just trying to seat the suspension into the top of the turret there. And it just wasn't playing ball. Now, I'm pretty certain that I had a bit more thread showing last time. However, the top mounts were absolutely obliterated. I took one of the other shocks apart, or rather the other shock apart, and noticed that it seemed to be as tight as it could be. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. If you know if this is right or whether I should have some more thread showing, then by all means just shout us out down in the comments, or otherwise send us a DM and say why I'm doing it wrong. But yeah, it was even a bit of a pain to get it into the bush. So yeah, you guessed it. Had to get the lube out, and yeah, it seems to be fitted up on there okay now. Looking forward to just getting it sorted. One thing though, I thought you might find interesting is some news. You may remember I've been flip-flopping about what to do with the engines. I've got a silver top in the car, silver top Z-Tech. I've got a black top Z-Tech, which is a later version of the same engine in the shed. Requires a little bit more effort to fit, but nevertheless, same power output, around about 135 brake horsepower. However, friends of mine, Mark and Grant, are currently braking an ST170. And when he popped up online that this was happening, I thought I'd shoot him a quick message to say, what's happening with the engine? Now, why do I need a third engine? And that's a great question. The name would probably suggest the ST170 has 170 brake horsepower. It has variable cam timing, which is quite interesting and quite difficult to set up unless you have aftermarket management and a map to be able to run it. Now, I'm thinking with a exhaust manifold on the car, all the cat, that kind of thing removed, air conditioning, but obviously there's going to be a lot less restricting that engine. I think that'd be quite a healthy power output in this car. Potentially, you'd be looking a little bit more by the time everything's done and it's all breathing correctly. Certainly, it'd be nice to think a couple of hundred brake horsepower is possible, and certainly would be more than enough in this thing. 170 horsepower is going to be more than enough in this thing. So I gave him a call, and long story short, I'm making up a list of the bits and pieces I want off the car, and everything crossed. 170 brake horsepower engine will be going into the Onion. So there we are. Bit of an update. I have finally made a decision. I figured you stick that in the car, then potentially, apart from maybe throttle body somewhere down the line, I'm probably not going to be wanting any more power. That's going to be quite comfortable for a cruiser. So yeah, why not? If you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find us also on the socials at UK Motor Talk everywhere. Otherwise, we'll see you next time, when hopefully things will be going back together and be getting that bit closer to getting this thing back on the ground.